Hi guys, welcome back to my system here. It's based on EndeavourOS, it's Arch. Remember February 2022, I told you guys, it's all Arch Linux. And we started making a Arch Linux suite tool, not an ArcoLinux suite tool, but an Arch Linux suite tool. So we can put any of our desktops on any of the arches. So I've added, let's do an update. That's one thing that's not default. We've added our own repositories. So this morning I've changed a little bit of code inside the ATT, making sure that if there is a user share icons default file, that is removed because it should be a folder and inside should be a theme. So that's taken care of. Topic of the video is, can we build an ArcoLinux ISO on EndeavourOS? I've done a video about ArchCraft already. EndeavourOS, I've done that in the past, but it's a good thing to reiterate and check, is it still working just fine? So this is a beautiful EndeavourOS with some repos, some bash RC, some aliases, and we, in previous video, we already built it. So this is the scripting thing, installation scripts, and then you get a folder with an ISO, with a content, with a lot of applications that will disappear again because there are some dependencies for Calamares. In this video you can also see me install anything VirtualBox related. So system Oracle VM VirtualBox. This is original, right? There's nothing in here. Normally I have a template ready and I clone it and done. So now I have to set it up like a regular user and say I have a new, and this is my idea of working, because you want to try out this and this and this 10, 20, 30 Linux environments or even Windows, right, inside a VirtualBox. And then you say, okay, let's make a template, a virtual machine name and operating system, ISO image not selected, Microsoft Windows, Linux. ArcoLinux 64 is good. If we scroll up, we have Arch Linux 64, which makes us feel a little bit better, right? But it's still 64-bit. That's the most important thing for the machine. Then we go to next. This is what I can give it. Oh, this is what I can give it. That's a lot. That's 16, right? So 8 is more than enough for a system like this. I have 8 CPUs, it says, so 50-50 is kind of my thinking behind these numbers here. Enable EFI, special OSs only, yes please. UEFI are the new computers. We're making a distro for new computers, right? Not for the old things that are in the cellar and then they say, let's try and install it and see if you have a magical fast machine. No, it's an old machine and it won't go any faster, right? It's spend money, buy the latest machines, then you'll have fun. Create all this, 30-ish gigabyte is more than enough. Virtual disk, that's good, we have, right, next. So this looks like it's good, but we're gonna finish and check anyway. So settings, back in it. So the template disabled, I do bidirectional on my machine, right? In this case, not needed maybe, but this is what I do by default. Here is the enable UEFI, so we want to have a new thing, and this is best checked off. I see this now. Will be enabled. Processor, enable PAENX. Wow, right? It's for the INC, for example. INC is an application that looks at the hardware, and otherwise it will see the hardware of the virtual machine, so it passes it on to the motherboard. Nothing checked here, nothing changed there. What is this? I don't think I changed that. Display, that's an important guy. VM SVGA all the way up like this. This is okay, right? Monitor count, I have 2 monitors, that's correct. VM SVGA, don't enable 3, I think. storage, all good. Audio, often I set it to off. I don't want music in my machines. If you want to test music, right? So Pipewire and Pulse Audio, those two guys. If you want to test it, of course, it should be on. Network, nothing to be set. Serial port, USB. Shared folders is something I do. So sharing between the guest and the host. So you can tell VirtualBox, here's a folder, and everything I put in here, I want to see that in the virtual machine. So that's a possibility. By default, I have it. User interface is, I changed something here. I think this one, but that's for the tiling window managers that I changed that. All right, we have our template, clone. We've built the D. The D stands for a very, very bare thing. We build it ourselves on Endeavour, choose a disk file. It's gonna be in the home, ArcoLinuxD. I'm not gonna make the easy way. What's the easy way? I'll show you. So Control F to make this big. And you don't see these messages. That's why, because I've installed it with the ArcoLinux Nemesis scripts. Don't want to click always on these pop-ups. When you go to Control F, it says, do you want to go full screen? Yeah, that's why I press the button. Okay. So I was saying, ArcoLinxD is the opposite of an ArcoLinux XL. XL has all the beautiful applications that are free on Linux, GIMP, Inkscape, 3 browsers, and so on. The D is the reverse side. It's like we want to have a graphical installation, so Calamares is there, but all the rest I'll decide on my own. And that's what we call the base installation. That's a black screen, but you know how to install sddm, you know how to install XFCE, you know how to install Bluetooth, printers and all that, then that's base installation. So sometimes people start too fast with that one. You need to know your commands, you need to know your packages. This one is the easier one. It's handpick, but still you are required to know a lot of stuff. Here you choose your language, which I always keep English. I can only advise you that that's a good idea, because you learn the keywords in English and you can Google the words in English. You get lots of hits in English, less in French, less in German, less in Dutch. So here we have all choices, but you have to choose, right? Some of the things you'll click and some of the things you don't have to click. How to know what to click. That's knowledge you gather after years being on ArcoLinux or ArcoLinux or EndeavourOS or Garuda, a Arch system, and maintaining it. That's when you know, that's what I need, that's what I need, and you handpick this. All right, so that's could be called the easy way, right? But still, it's not the same experience as an XL, XS, all the Bs. It's not intended to be. It's intended to be bare, and even so, in the selections of the desktops, we give you a lot of applications, so you can deselect them and install even less. So I'm gonna go for the difficult approach, meaning it's gonna give me this, which is, well, now you see something like an XFCE, a very minimal one. There's no menu, that's the point. There shouldn't be a menu. It's not, right? It's part of the XFCE to have something graphical, to have a window manager that shows you these things, but that's it. Afterwards, it all gets uninstalled, it gets removed from your system, and you end up in a black screen. This is what it is, a pass-through, a drive-through without getting any food. All right, so this is really the opposite of what an XL is. It intends to be paired. This was 4 years ago, 5 years ago, that was the goal, right? And later on, we got more knowledge in Calamares, and we added these net modules where you can say I want to have that kernel, I want to have that display manager, I want to have Mate as desktop, and I want to have those and those and those applications. But that came later. The bare, that was first, and now we're gonna go for the bare option. Is that all important? Well, it's interesting to know the history, why things evolved the way they evolved, because you see that the reflections or the changes inside our websites as well. So ArcoLinuxD.com was initially for that ISO, but later on we said, okay, the D stands for desktop, and we started gathering all the information on Awesome on there, of PSPWM on there, of Mate on the D for desktop, ArcoLinuxD.com, right? So what if a project like this, it's sprouts out of your brain, right? What if this, what if that? What if I make a Calamares with an ArcoLinux? Well, that would be a good idea. How should we call it? ArcoLinux customer installer, ArcoLinux customer Calamares installer, ArcoLinux Calamares installer, ALCI, right? Another what if was Carly, a customized ArcoLinux installer, Carly. And those ideas, and later on a riser, are just what ifs to get to the same result. An operating system that's free, that's based on Arch, and where you're free to take control and to manage, to maintain, and to tweak, right? Sometimes a little tweak here, a little tweak there for your specific network card or graphical card. And that's where the ArcoLinux wiki comes in. How many graphical cards are there, right? And those guys you treat that way, and those guys have a bug there, and those guys need to be treated like that, and you gotta read. And that is always the point for ArcoLinux or ArcoLinux. You need to read up and say, okay, this PC, that driver, that PC, that driver. And that's the fun, right? It's a little bit of Sherlock Holmes, and if that's not your thing, then probably ArcoLinux is not your distro to use. If you want to just install it and be done with it and never know how your car drives, basically, right? Then, sure, they're better distros, I suppose. At this point in time, we're removing stuff. So Calamares is great, right? A free Swiss knife installer for anything Linux. But of course it needs dependencies, and those are now gone. And we boot back up, and we're still on EndeavourOS, doing quite well, thank you. So a nice grub. This is always fun, this grub thing. The background can be changed into millions, if not trillions, of backgrounds, right? You choose the wallpaper with the ATT, ArcoLinux Tweak Tool. Test them out. This is it. This is what people fear, right? If you ever seen a video of the installation of ArcoLinux, the Arch way, then, well, you don't have to log in then, but you get this black thing, TTY, Teletypewriter, right? And I'm Eric. Oops, that's not gonna go well. All the fingers should be in the right positions, and then we can go. So 619 packages. Always check, probably you as well. I'll try to remove something arco. There we go. So I want to have a configuration of Alacrity, some little things in there, the color for grub theme Vimix, NeoFetch, that's the thing up there in blue, systemd services for things that we need. I think I can remove that one. I'll check it out. System config, yeah, system configuration files, important. Keyring, signing, it's always these keys. Paru does a reverse. If you type something, if you search something, it puts it, well, in a reverse order. In my eyes, I want to see the first one at the bottom and not number 333 at the bottom. and I need to scroll up to see number 1. Right? Wallpapers, yeah, welcome app, hi, that's it. Mirror list, where are the packages? And then I like to be greeted with sddm simplicity kit, which we could also delete, and because if you, and this is possible, right, if you decide to go for lithium, then there's a package that's not needed. So 2 things I'll check out if I can remove it. All right, so we have a black screen. Now what? 2 things. Either you are very advanced in the Linux University and you say, no problem, I just do, well, first of all, maybe you do update, but then you're an ArcoLinux guy, right? You know the alias. If you're not an ArcoLinux guy, you're probably gonna type SYYU, something like that. Pacman, Pacman now knows, oh, there are the packages, and those come in, cool. So I always read what comes in. Then I like to be greeted with sudo pacman -s. sddm is indeed the default for us, so the theme is good that it's there. That's one. Is it enabled? No, it's not enabled. So I enable sddm. Voila, if you see the line, created symlink and so on, you know, yes, right? I can now reboot. What will I get? sddm. What's behind it? Nothing. Can it log in? Of course not, there's nothing. So now I need to decide what to have behind it. So often I take XFCE, very often. And there is also Mate, and there is Cinnamon. And how do we know all that? Well, you go to the browser and you type arch wiki. Let's take Mate, right? And it tells you what to do. You need to install the Mate group, contains the core desktop and so on, and the Mate extra group contains extra stuff. Will not pull in the whole Mate group via dependencies. All right. So Mate extra, you remember that, and go back here, make this big again, and say no, it's not gonna be Cinnamon this time. I'm gonna go for Mate extra. And the fun thing is, this is the default. The same thing for XFC. You get the default XFC. The bars at the top. You have this blue, the wallpaper, right? The XFC standard wallpaper. Icons are strange looking. Well, the default icons, right? And so on. Same for Mate, same for Cinnamon. It's fun to see a pure arch and then say, okay, this is still a lot of work to make this nice. But that's the fun, the rising. But there's a but, of course. If you are installing a lot of time, then you don't want to rise anymore after 20 times. Then you say, I'm fed up with these rising all the time. So that's where you get in configs. That's where you keep the dot files. And if you can make a package and have a repo, that's when you make a package and say, that's the configuration for Mate, that's the configuration for Cinnamon. And in short, you're getting a distro. Well, a look anyway. So this is sddm simplicity, right? It was already there, good that it was there. And this is the default look, all of it. Maybe there are guys out there that say, this looks awesome, I'm gonna keep this. Fine, right? That's Linux, it's freedom, keep whatever you like. But there is also Arc Dark. And then you can customize it further. And the window border, the icons, Mate Faenza. Oh, look at that, the Sardi icons. Or maybe, oh yeah, let's take the one, Ghost Flexible. Right? Choose. Backgrounds. In the beginning, you say, oh, that's a nice background. And later on you say, I've seen it now. Nice. I'm observing and finding figures in here. And this is now my PC. In the meantime, we check if all the icons are present and accounted for. All white. Cool. No work for me. Et voila. Now, is the story, is it done? Is it finished? Are we finished? I don't know. Sound preferences. You know, I have no sound in here. Or did I put it on? I don't know. Forgot. But here is where you set your sound, the input and the output and all that. So that's probably gonna be installed. Looks like it's installed. But Bluetooth, printing, still a lot of things to do. This was now what I think is not that difficult yet. Oh, look at that, right? Where's the internet? I don't have internet, right? This is bare. Alacrity is there. So sudo pacman -s Firefox or Min or Google Chrome or Chromium or Vivaldi or Brave or even Edge, right? Anything is possible because it's your choice. So what I wanted to end with is the last thing. You'll find videos where I do a git clone. Why not, right? github.com. The idea was in the past that, well, in the past still is, but it's there. Maybe you don't know. There is an ArcoLinuxD GitHub for the D project for this, the bare approach. If you are in a black screen, you can also say git clone and then this URL, github.com ArcoLinuxD Arco i3. So the first part you have to remember, and then it's always Arco Plasma, Arco Mate, Arco Deeping, and so on. They're all here. And then you run the scripts. 100 will install the display. This is like the real core things, to have something visual, right? To have something actually be there. And then it goes on like development software. That's for us, Sublime, Meld, and so on. Sound, yeah, maybe. Bluetooth, printers, Samba for the few of us, laptop stuff. If you have more computers, network discovery, Arch Linux, ArcoLinux third party, extra large stuff, distro specific stuff, and even more ArcoLinux software. Fonts if you want, Conky if you want, and that's it, right? You just run the things you want, and most importantly, change it. Make a copy. Make this, if this is your thing, i3 is my thing, you can already start with something. A lot of work goes in all these things, 222 commits, right? We've been at it since, I'm curious, we have been at it since 2019 already, 2018 already, 2018, still 2018, oh my god. That's it. So February 24, 2018, we've been pushing code to this GitHub. Use it. Copy, change, put it on your own GitHub so you can do a git pull later on. All right? Enjoy the power of independence, basically. Self-reliance. Make an operating system that you like, with the tools and the settings you like. I think I see an elephant now. And here's another one. All right, be my guest and see other things in here. Enjoy.